Okay, so I have a 2004 Saturn Ion, and it is pulling viciously to the right. I have seen a lot of problems with the electronic power steering from a lot of different people, but this one's a little different. It just, you turn it on and it goes right, and that's it. Doesn't matter if it's parked or if it's moving, it'll just pull to the right. So initially, I didn't know what it was, so I just changed out the struts because the springs were broken, but didn't change a thing. So what I've done is isolated the problem, and I'll show you right here that it's kind of haunting what it does. I took out the intermediate shaft so that it isn't connected to the physical steering anymore. So power steering alone, here we go. Yeah, this is a little not supposed to do that. I know you're not supposed to let your wheel spin around; it'll break your clock spring. But I'm replacing this all anyway. I think I'm gonna grab a steering column from the junkyard and just switch it out and see what happens, because it can't get any worse than that. It will actually try to murder you. So yeah, if you disconnect the little connections on the power steering, the wheel stays still, and if you drive the car without power steering, it drives perfectly straight. So definitely going to replace the column and see what happens. I'll get back to you when I do that. The junkyard got a new steering column. It looks appropriate. Looks just like the other one, except it's black. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it'll work, so we'll get that put in. And well, the only thing I'm gonna change on these is I am gonna switch this little black module here is the ignition switch, and I am gonna swap my old one over to the new wheel over here just to make sure it doesn't clash with the ECU and such. So I'm gonna switch those out, get this buttoned up, and I'll show you how to take it out too. This is incredibly simple. Like, if you can change your oil, you can change this. It's not difficult at all. So we'll get to it. Alright, the steering column disassembly and assembly is pretty easy. Let me show you how to do it real quick. First thing you want to do when you're taking it all apart is pull this panel here. It's just held on with clips. Try not to be that aggressive with it, but yeah, there'll be, see all these little holes. There were 8mm bolts in that, and those will hold on, or they're 7mm, I'm sorry, but they'll hold on a panel right here and a panel right here. They're all 7mm, so just take all that off so you can gain access underneath here. The trim pieces for the column here are all held on by T25 Torx. There it is, T25. But yeah, go ahead and take all that off. Easy peasy. Down here, you'll see your power steering connections. There's your power steering motor, this big black thing, just in case anybody was wondering. But yeah, so when you're taking it apart, go ahead and disconnect these. You'll have two wiring connections underneath the wheel here for the ignition switch and the key lock. And then there'll be 3 on top. 1, 2, 3. So those all need disconnected when you are disassembling it. And this whole thing is held on by only 3 bolts. So you'll see right, here's 1. There's 2 just on the opposite side. Number 3 is a little harder to see. If you want to look at the back of the motor and then look up, there's a really long bolt in there that goes all the way through to the other side over here. So that'll be harder to see, obviously, when it's all the way screwed in. But yeah, this will go all the way in there. Tighten that down. Tighten those 3 down. The last order of business is the intermediate shaft, the steering shaft. Hold on a second. But yeah. So you can see here, you got to kind of lay on your back. It's pretty awkward, but yeah, this just goes on here. When you're taking it off, there's just a 13mm bolt right there. You pull that out, and you do have to kind of pry on this, but this motor is strong, so just get a bar in there and wedge it between, and you can just kind of pop that off. You want to, before you pop that off though, make sure your wheels are dead straight. Not necessarily the steering wheel, but your wheels need to be straight. And obviously install in reverse order. I do have a problem though. And the problem is that from what I've read, you're supposed to, when you take the donor car apart, you're supposed to make sure the steering wheel is straight in that. So that way everything matches up. The problem was the junkyard guys are real aggressive, and he's like, "What you got here, boy?" And he just starts kind of, spinning the wheel. So that's an issue. I don't know where straight is. But these are self-centering steering systems. So what I think I'm going to do is hook it all up, tighten it down, and before I hook up the steering shaft itself, I'm going to turn the key on and let the steering wheel self-center. Turn it back off, and then I'll hook up the intermediate shaft. I don't know if that's the real way to do it, but it sounds logical. Okay, it's all back to well, it's not all back together. It's bolted down. I don't want to get it all back together until I find out if it works. So everything's connected except for the intermediate shaft. I'm about to turn the key and see if the wheel will just center itself, or is it going to go and just spin around all Exorcist-like. So let's find out. This is the key for this column, by the way, out of the new Saturn. But since I switched the ignition switch, this one shouldn't have a problem working. Alright, and coming on. It's on. No exorcism. And it is power assisted. So, right, I'm going to hook up the intermediate shaft and we'll take it for a drive. Seems like it worked. I don't know. Okay. The Saturn's all back together, so let's try to drive it. That was off before, don't worry. I'm just looking for the power steering message, which means it's faulted. We do have power steering. Feels a little weird, I guess, but find seatbelt, hold on. But the wheel did not jerk ferociously to the right. Something in this wheel does feel a little weird. I don't think it has anything to do with the procedure. Just my part, maybe. Okay. Yeah. I think that did it. Before it was so bad that if you even let go of the wheel, it would just dart into the neighbor's yard there and run over their puppy. But yeah, so that's mission success. I think I saw another guy on YouTube had the same problem. I think his name was EXO. Had a little blue Saturn, so I don't know if he got that fixed, but hopefully he sees this. And anybody else that has a problem, I know this applies to Cobalts have pretty much the same exact power steering system. Malibus, a lot of various things do. So if any of you have the... Sorry, I didn't want to run over that guy. But so if anybody has, it can range from your wheel just jerking around a little bit to full off pulling you off the road. So one more look. Here you go, full speed. Good, happy car, celebration.